battle for Middle-earth is about to begin.
So it begins.
Send these foul beasts into the abyss!
Welcome to the Zorpazorp Battle Games in Middle-earth livestream. In this series, we cast our gaze back in time to the roots of our beloved Middle-earth strategy battle game to explore the fortnightly magazine serial Battle Games in Middle-earth. Each episode, we will delve into a single issue, poring over a treasure trove of retro gaming, following in-depth painting guides, terrain tutorials, and some crazy battle reports, all with a modern twist so you guys can enjoy them in your games at home. With each installment, we'll also focus on a release of models that accompanied the magazine, following their journey from painting bench to tabletop, and then at the end of every live stream, they'll be randomly assigned to one of our loyal Patreons to continue their days of gaming abroad, spreading the gospel of Zorpazorp. So, in the immortal words of the magazine itself, let battle commence. Woo! Welcome to Zorpazorp Gaming. My name's Lachlan Keen, and welcome to a slightly spontaneous Middle-earth livestream. We are doing a kind of another off-vogue Quest for the Ringbearer livestream tonight, where we have a look at two of the new models that have just come out alongside the new Middle-earth supplement for our wonderful strategy battle game, and they are the fantastic sculpts from Forge World's Mablung and Anborn. They are two wonderful characters from the books that we don't see at all. Well, I suppose we'd probably see them in the movies, but they're not actually named. I think about it, Mablung might have been an on-script character with 1 or 2 lines of dialogue, but they're essentially a couple of rangers of Gondor under Faramir, and we're going to be doing some cool ranger color schemes for them today because I need them painted for a battle report that we are filming this weekend. This weekend we've got a big double-day shoot. Mark's coming down from the north now that the border has opened, and we've got 4 fantastic, well hopefully 4 if we get time, scenarios to shoot. I'm currently surrounded by terrain. I'll just make sure that everything is happening alright in the chat. Looks like everyone's joining good. You guys can obviously hear me. I can see green bars over there, that's good. Yes, I'm currently buried. I've got like 6 or 7 pieces of Osgiliath over there. There is Mines of Moria up there. There is Weathertop over there. It's a bit insane in here, which is why we're doing a slightly non-traditional camera position and you guys are just starting over there because I've got no space for the camera over there. So it's going to be pretty wild. We're going to do a reasonably nice job on these guys, hopefully. We're going to start off with a couple of contrast base coats on some of the broader layers like the cloth, but then we're going to look at some nice layered wet blending to get a pretty cool look. I love green capes. Green capes is like my jam. All I do is paint Rohan and Gondor Rangers, so that is fine for me. That is my background. We've got some browns, some blacks, a few neutral tones to make these guys look kind of cool, but I want these guys to look impressive because, you know, they're the cool little hero centerpiece of the Gondor force in Osgiliath. And if we get time, which is unlikely because it's already midnight Australian time, we'll do some cool Osgiliath basing as well, but we see how we go. Let me come and jump on into the chat and I'll make sure that I haven't missed anything before we dive on over to the brush. There are lots of people joining us. Oh goodness, there's 60 of you. Oh, now I saw a question from, was it Renga who asked? It was. He asked whether these rangers were the Patreon giveaway for this week. No, they're not. These are just a bonus little Quest for the Ringbearer stream. We did that other one a couple of, well, it would have been last Saturday, I think, where we did the battle report, and now this is just a little bonus hobby stream, so we'll still be doing our normal stream this coming Sunday night / Monday morning, if you're down in this part of the world. I don't actually know what's on the menu for that stream. I imagine after 2 days of battle report filming, I'll be looking that up at like 5 minutes to midnight on Sunday night, my time. So I think it's some cool action with maybe Aemma. We might be painting up the new Aemma, or potentially some more shenanigans with Saruman and his evil forces, which should be pretty cool. Should be pretty cool indeed. But these guys are not. Yes, I'm wearing my pajamas again. Well observed. I think it was, who said that? Might have been Odie. No, it was Paul Dale. Yes, it's Christmas pajamas. I'm covered in paint and it's my terrain clothes. It's fine. It's fine. We've got lots and lots of people joining us in the chat. We've got Head Health from Cambridge in England. We've got Jodnaya joining us from Carlo over in Ireland. Andrew from down in New South Wales here in Australia. Tim Hazenkamp, our representative from the Netherlands. Good evening, Tim. Or what time is it? 9 hours back plus 2. So it's early afternoon for you, I think. Nandalov says he's a big fan of my PJs. Yeah, well, it's a staple here. This is the special evening streams that some of you guys don't normally get to see, because of course I'm normally streaming at a completely different time. But when it's my evening, you get to see me in the pajamas. Odie has joined us. He says, gotta go to work in 10 minutes. So I'm sorry, dude. I did hope to get on a little bit earlier, but my daughter did not want to go to sleep. Any other questions? Oh, that's right, Joshy Summers, our wonderful, my right-hand man here on the live stream chats, has posted up a little thread over in the Facebook group, which is linked down in the description below, facebook.com/groups/Zorpazorp, and there's a progress thread over there as well. So if you guys are working on stuff alongside with me, if you're painting some bits and pieces, throw up some photos in that thread and I'll have a look, and we can all see what we're working on, which is going to be pretty cool. We've got Spike Johnson joining us from Melbourne, Georgie from upstate New York, Emilian from Belgium. Fantastic. Don't get Belgium joining in. Whereabouts in Belgium? My favourite place in Belgium is Bruges. Absolutely beautiful city. That is also because it's really the only place I've been, but it was absolutely stunning. Oh, we've got more people joining us on Patreon. Thank you so much, Junso Hutunen. I think I said that correctly. In terms of the giveaways, we've got some interesting giveaways happening. Not this stream, but we're working towards this kind of Quest for the Ringbearer giveaway. I wonder if I have it right here. Hang on. Hold that thought. No, look at that. I found it. Buried. So this is the new Minds of Moria set. This is, well, I say new. It's the repackaged and re-put out version of the original terrain that came in the 2005 starter set. This got released alongside Quest for the Ringbearer, and we're going to be giving this whole sprue away to one of our lucky Patreons. And what we're going to do is, because we've got this Patreon, this Battle Report campaign coming out, that's not going to be a live stream giveaway, that's going to be given away in one of our Battle Reports, our proper cinematic Battle Reports. So we've got, we're going to be, I'll give you guys the sneaky down low. We're going to start off with Weathertop, with Aragorn and the four hobbits, and then we're going to do Balin's Tomb, then we've got a big Arm-on-Hand Battle Report, and then we're finishing in Osgiliath as Frodo and Sam are escaping to the sewers. So I don't know if we'll do the giveaway at the end of the Osgiliath one, or maybe the Minds of Moria one. We'll have to wait and see. But if you want to be in the draw to score yourself that, and of course all the other fortnightly giveaways that we do here associated with the Middle-earth channel, make sure you head over to Patreon and pledge as little as $1. So that's how you can score yourself some juicy goodies. But tonight, we are painting some ranges. So let's whiz on over to the desk, which actually might not be a change camera position. I don't even think I need to go to the holding screen. Let's just see if we can do this real sneaky. You guys are gonna have to get a glimpse behind the curtain here and watch me position the camera, because I just can't be bothered going and switching vision to a holding screen just to adjust this for 2 seconds. All right, so let's go to 35mm. I will come in a little bit closer. I'd like you guys to see all of the crisp, incredible detail on these Forge World models. Let's have a look at this bad boy. Ooh, yeah, he's good. I'm gonna pan over to the desk a little bit more. So if I am painting, that should be reasonably comfortable. I'll move over a bit more. Aaron's joined us. He says, good afternoon/evening. I'm going to bring over my microphone as well so you guys can hear me nicely while I'm over on this side of the world. You're getting all the inside goss here on how the channel works. It's very fancy. I'm going to be using a wet palette today. We've got a few different bits and pieces that are going down. Yeah, that's going to be good. I can see, you can see. That looks fabulous. So, this is... I want to say... Damn it, I don't remember which one's which. I think this guy with the bow here, I think he's the lethal aim one. Oh, man. I think he's Anborn, and this is Mablung. But I'm not going to lie, I'm not really sure. They are rangers, and they have the same scheme. That's all that matters to me. We've got these big, beautiful, sweeping green cloaks. and yeah, just a whole lot of goodies, basically. Let's go that way a little more. We've got some really interesting, basically lots and lots of natural fibers, right? That's what tonight is all about. We've got browns on the wood. We've got, these are going to be brown pants. We'll do some green work with a bit of trim, and then a darker brown. So there's 2 browns in this scheme. We're going to go for more of a darky chestnut brown here, or kind of a scorch brown look, and then the more chestnut brown on the pants. There's lots of greens, lots of bits and pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the really big layer, which is the greens. What I might do is, if I'm mildly organized, is I'll throw up a reference photo. And I'm not mildly organized, but I can get one pretty quickly. Quest for the Ringbearer, Warhammer Community, Rangers. There we go. So this is what we're kind of going for. I think we'll go for the heavy metal scheme. We've got that beautiful green. Now, what color is that? So that's our lighter brown on the trousers. And it looks like they've got the dark green in the center of the tabard, but then black trim around the lining of that center tabard. So I quite like that. That's good. That's good. They've gone for 2 different schemes on the Rangers. I'm probably going to go for the same, but I think what we'll do is we'll start off with that massive green cloak. That is going to be our beginning today, and we'll go for a little bit of green action. So let's start off with the one, the only, Dark Angels green. It's not the classic Dark Angels green that some of you in the chat, like myself, may know and love. Look at this, #1 thing with contrast paints. Look at all that settled pigment. You get to now listen to me shaking a paint for like a minute, probably. Sam says, Lockie, there is a well in the Mines of Moria set. Yes, there is a well. And a well is currently being added to that Mines of Moria board. I am borrowing a well from someone else for the battle report. So Sam, you will finally get to see my well. Sam says Lockie has a well finally. No, I don't, because that well's being given away. But the board will have a well, and you will see it on the battle report with a well, and then the well will be taken away. And it will go somewhere else. But that's okay. Alright, let's have a look. So what we want to do here is get a really nice... let's have a look at what that looks like on the stream. Yep, that's fine. Oh, more people joining. Drew Dutton just jumped in and pledged to Patreon. Welcome, Drew. You are now in the draw. So what we're going to do is we're going to just get a nice coat of Dark Angels green contrast all over this cloak to start with. This is really the only contrast layer that's going down, except for some blacks. So I'm not really worried if I accidentally get this over any of the grey, because it's not a huge concern in terms of like preserving the integrity of the prime. Now, I guess this is Forge World resin, so there's always that conversation to have. So, you know, when I got these parts, they were all pretty disassembled. Not too bad, though. It was quite an easy put together. There's no warping, or maybe not enough for me to be asked about. And I gave everything a wash in soapy water, just to get off the mold release. Which you should. I honestly do that with all my metals as well, and I don't bother with plastics. Look at that; that's going down quite nicely. You just need to watch as the pigment separates, that it doesn't accidentally kind of separate so intensely that you have huge regions of blank model and it just goes back to the under material. If it does it again, I'll show you. Sort of in there, it's done it a little bit. Yeah, so give everything a nice wash in warm soapy water to break down that mold release, and then let it all dry, and then get a nice prime. And that way your paint will adhere properly and it won't literally release off the model that you're working on. So I'm all about just applying a reasonable amount of contrast, not insanely thick. This is literally like a base tone for me, and then I'm gonna work into and blend into this. So if it's doing weird kind of bad contrasty things, that's not a worry. I'm not concerned. We'll get all the green down in and around there. Is that still on camera? Friggin' barely. Excellent work, Lockie. Alright, that's green there. Is that... What's that? That's green. In underneath. These cloaks can be a little fiddly sometimes. Welcome to Lord of the Rings. Fiddly cloaks. And then, of course, we've got the huge underside of this cloak. So this is what I mean about, like, I'm just slapping this on, and I'm not particularly worried about hitting all those other things. All those other regions, I'll just clean those up when I get to them. Just want to make sure I get at least this Dark Angel's green everywhere. That is Cloak. Cloak wraps nicely around both sides of the model. It's quite a dynamic swirling cape, which is good. Like, literally look how messy I'm being. It doesn't matter, all that stuff's going to get hit by other colours. Do not care. Alright. That looks like a pretty decent coverage. I'm just going to come in here and have a look at this Cloak in detail. Just around the top. I'll see if I can come a little closer. That's better for you guys, I think. Is that better for you guys if I'm there? I think so. That dude's a little overexposed though. Now I'm closer, so we'll stop down a bit. Alright, let me know if that angle's good. He says and then never looks at the chat. Just going to blend a little bit more green in there. Get that Dark Angel's green in and around. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all the green there. We also want to get this tabard in the center here. Just the center of it. We're not particularly worried about that. Cool, alright, that's dude number 1. Wouldn't it be nice to have 2 painting handles right now? Kinda underexposed now, says Liam. Oh yes, it is a little under. Thank you for that, Liam. Alright, let's go and jump on to number 2. Let's see how quickly I abandon painting both these ranges at once. I think we'll be fine. I need them both painted, so I might as well just sit here and do it with you guys. Alright, just focusing on making sure I get a nice coverage on all of the bits. You'll notice I'm not applying a ridiculously thick coat of contrast. I just want enough to get even coverage. And, you know, start to get that tone down, but I'm not doing the whole heavy contrast thing, because this isn't the only layer I'm putting down, right? Personally, I don't really think you should ever do that, but some of the contrasts are really great, and you can go down nicely in one layer, but most of them will need a little bit of work on top. They're a good little tool, especially for some base coats that just have some inbuilt natural tonal variation. Alright, in and around the hair, I'm just slapping it all over the hair because I'll come back over and clean that up. Even got some on the face then, I don't care. Cool, this guy's cloak is a lot easier to reach. I'm going to call this guy Anborn. I'm pretty sure this is Anborn and the other one's Mablung. It's quite a nice pose too, because it looks like these poses are probably not like, you know, picked straight out of a scene from the movies. Which means that the guys, I've got to work that out. I'm not sure which sculptor it was who did these. I don't think it was Keith. I think he was doing Bill the Pony and stuff. Not sure. Alright, so that looks like all of our green there. Oh, and of course we need the tabard. Looking good. There's like another underlayer, so I'm just going to make that green as well. Just so I don't have to find 3 brown colours. Okay, so that looks like all of the green is down. Quickly chucking a bit more over the top. Improving that coverage a little bit. Alright, boom. That's our green base down. Gonna wash up. Alright, let's have a look at our thing again. And then I'm going to come onto the chat. So that's all we're going to need Dark Angel's green for. Now what we're going to do is start to do some blends. I'm just getting this camera perfect for you guys because I'm not happy with it. Where's my brush? Alright, let's have a look in the chat. Kaya says, I want to try a normal green cloak, but mostly black uniform to match the regular warriors more. Yeah, that would blend quite nicely with the Ministerious forces. Doing like a blend of the black. I'm bringing a little bit of black into my screen, but that is going to do well. Liam says that the bow boy is Anborn. Very nice. Anyone already running the new Legendary Legion? Asks Tim Thorpe Tracy. Yes. Anyone got any feedback? Anyone playing around with it? We have just booked our first tournament in some time. It's going to be on the 7th of November, COVID pending, and it should be pretty good. Very, very excited by that. Riddikill asks, is the new Bill the Pony confirmed? Yeah, basically confirmed. Technically it's not, you know, publicly confirmed, but we know it's happening. There's been some talk. Let's have a look. Let's see. Is this green ready to go? Yeah, it's basically good enough. So what I'm going to do is swap Anborn out, put Mablung back in, being as he is the most dry. And now what we're going to do is we are going to mix up some gradients. I've got here a wet palette. I'm going to grab myself some Caliban green. Let's go to the drawer and have a look, because that for some reason isn't on the thing. And we're going to mix up a bit of a gradient here of dark through to a lighter green. And me Caliban green. Oh, where'd you go, Caliban? Too many paints. I need a better paint storage system, I think. Typhus corrosion. Oh, I know where it is. It's in the chest. It's got Vostrians mounted on it. Are you in here, Caliban? Yeah, here she is. It's like, I wonder why there's so few paints in my drawer. It's because I was using my my proper paints as paint holders in my Vostrian 24-hour video. Alright, here we go. Caliban green. And we're going to throw some of that down in the wet palette. And we're going to mix up a little gradient by adding some warpstone glow. So, we'll throw that Caliban down. I'm just going to wash my brush out in between paints, and then we're going to bring in warpstone glow. Give that a good shake. It's quite a nice thin paint because it is a layer. And we'll just grab a big old spoonful of that. So I can do this so you guys can see. I'm going to throw that in. I'm just using the, you know, I don't want the paint to go all the way up the quick. Just going to mix a sort of range of colours. Add a little bit more warpstone glow to this side. Beautiful. And this is a great thing to do with the wet palette if you're working with like a big batch of troops and you, oh wow, I just put my finger in the pot pretty hard there. And you know you're going to be working into some very consistent and regular blends over some fabrics. Alright, there we go. So I've got a range of colours. This is quite quickly mixed, but that's fine. So I've got sort of a mid-tone green, a lighter green, and then Caliban itself, which is quite that dark green. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab just pure Caliban, and I'm going to put a little bit of water in the palette. You could use Lamian medium, whatever you want, just to make a really thin coat. And then I'm going to grab Mablung, and I'm going to reapply that all over the contrast layer that we put down. And what this does is, because it's a thin coat, we're sort of preserving the kind of subtle contrasty variations that we've got already underneath. So that contrast is still doing stuff, but it's much more subtle now because it's underneath this layer of Caliban. I'm applying this everywhere, all over the same regions. And, you know, it might seem like, oh, you know, why wouldn't you just put down this first? And you certainly could do that. It's just I find that just that extra little bit of subtle variation that's granted by the Dark Angel's green under the Caliban really kind of complements it and gives it some cool stuff. There is a little bit of Dark Angel's green still wet here, but I'm moving fast, obviously, because we're on camera. And then while that's all wet, I'm just going to grab some of my lighter mix from the center of the palette. So this is that slightly brighter green. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to work straight into it and wet blend some of that lighter mix onto sort of, you're talking like, you want to hit like 50% of the top of the highlights. The key is to still have your layers thin here. I'm not doing this the thinnest because I am trying to be quick. But you still want the blends to be thin and not obscuring the detail and consistent. Have a little bit more of that mid-tone green. So I've just actually loaded up a little bit more of that kind of brighter warpstone glow mix, and I'm starting to put that in now. And you know, blending in those highlights, you can see how it starts to get really subtle, but it is working to a brighter point on the higher parts of the cloak. So I love to paint like this, is just get some base tones down, and just while everything's wet, work straight into it. And it works really well for natural fibers and cloths and fabrics and things, and it's really quick as well. I love doing it with blacks and greys, like my ring wraiths. And it sort of goes against a bit of the, like, you know, painstaking layering approaches, but you can get some really quick, awesome results by just wet blending the crap out of everything. And because everything's so wet, if you don't like something, you just pull it back and then put down more base tone. And I'm doing a little bit less of the highlighting, you know, in these regions that are obviously, you know, in shadow, but right up the front here, this is where we want some brighter stuff. So now I'm gonna I'll probably wash out my brush, and I'm bringing in the proper brighter stuff, load it up on the brush, and then take, you know, scratch into the palette to make sure that you're not overloading with too much paint. And I'm just working in. Now, as I work into the darker green, you know, it blends, right? So I have to keep loading the brighter green on to accent that dark green, because when I add the dark green, the light green to the dark green, it all just goes dark because it's wet, right? That's the whole point of the wet blending. So you do have to kind of load your brush up every now and then, but that's fine. And you can just keep going. Like, I want these little bits here at the front a bit brighter, so I'm just continuing to work into it. If it gets sucked away, then I'll just go and get a bit more and just keep going and keep going in thinner passes. And it will often look quite stark as you're doing it, but then as it all dries, it blends together. It's getting a little streaky because I am rushing, but that's fine. Just trying to make those brightest points. And if stuff gets a bit too, like, brush strokey, just sort of keep working it, because it just blends it into the layers below. Some really nice folds right up here on the top that would be in full sun, so they should be quite bright. Working a bit more of that green in on those. Okay, let me come and have a look. So that's a little bit brush strokey. Let's blend that in. We'll blend that. Oh, it's starting to look really nice. So it's the kind of thing that you can just work away on as one big layer. It's sort of the way that, like, oil artists work, is you're constantly working into this wet medium. You can pull stuff back, you can keep putting stuff back into it. I just find it to be really creatively stimulating. Then layer, wait for it to dry, layer, wait for it to dry. And at the end of the day, painting needs to be enjoyable, and because this is, you can see the changes, like, sort of quite immediately as you're working. It's really fun. So that's good. We need a little bit more there, and then this kick of cloak that folds out. Wow, that was a huge broad highlight. Let's pull that back So I'm just coming in with a damp brush now, because I've made a bit of a boo-boo, and just pulling that off. Looks good. I'll come back in with a bit of my mid-tone green, re-establish the mid-tone that I pulled off, and then I'll come back in with the brighter green and try again, and just focus that on the edge, and have actually some brush control. There we go. So look at that. We got a nice... It might just look really wet to you guys on the camera. I'm not sure. I think it's showing up okay, but you just get a really nice subtle graduation of tone, and when you look from a distance, it just looks green, but when you go in close, you do see that nice kind of graduation that's there. I'm just going to create some more highlights on the folds of that tabard, and then again, this front area. And it's not to say that you couldn't do this process to establish lovely green midtones and then wait for it to dry, and then come in and do like a final bright highlight pass if you really wanted to. And maybe that's what we'll do at the end. We might go, ooh, that green needs a little kick, and just give it a bit more, but I don't know. So I think I've successfully been talking about highlighting green for like, 20 minutes or something. I like wet blending, what can I say? I'm an exponent. That is looking freaking awesome. I'm so happy with that. Alright, well there you go, guys. Let's talk about it for another 20 minutes, because that's range of 1 of 2 done. Okay, let me come into the chat. I'll tell you what we'll do is yeah, that needs like 10 seconds more to cue it anyway. Let me come into the chat. You can look at a beautiful close-up of my we've got Maxi Clace has joined us, and he says, a stream under the light of the French sun. What is this devilry? Yes, we're streaming in Lockie's evening time. Let me zoom on up to the top of the chat. Oh my god, you guys have been talking a lot while I was wet blending. Bill the Pony has been confirmed. The new Rangers look great, says Tim. Johnny Two Hats has joined us. Welcome, Johnny. Joshy Summers says, I have 12 of those painting handles, but yes, Josh has 12,000 of everything, so that's no business. Tim asks a question. He says, are you running the new Legendary Legion for this year's army, or are you sticking with your Rivendell Knights plan? So yeah, I mean, look, Tim, I friggin' have no idea. So, for those of you who don't know, I usually like to pick an army per year. And I go, this is going to be the year of something. And obviously for about a year and a half, it's been the year of Rohan. The Legendary Legion came out with Gondor at War, right at the Theoden, and I was like, I'm playing that forever. That was the best. And I had a ball with that, and that will probably definitely see some more tournament play. When I feel like kicking ass and trying to podium, that's a good list to take. And I really wanted to move into Riv Knights. I love cavalry armies, all mounted cavalry, and Riv Knights are kind of like the cream of the crop. They've got a bit of magic in there as well. So I was thinking about going that way, started buying up Rivendell Knight boxes, and then, I don't know, things just keep tempting me and I keep going in different directions. And also I have so little time now to actually hobby for myself. I only have time to kind of, I'm going to start layering green while I'm telling the story. I only sort of have time to, doing stuff for the channel, so I kind of have to, what I'm working on Middle-earth wise and hobby wise is often getting dictated to what I'm working on for filming, and I'm not going to be making any content for the channel with Rivendell Knight, so it's hard to like justify the time to work on them. The same thing with my Glorfindel led list with Círdan and the Fornosti stuff. So maybe one day we'll get supplements for those kinds of bits that will make me want to work on them. But yeah, so Black Riders is appealing to me at the moment because it's really easy to get on the table. I have all the models, and it's like 9 cavalry and 9 infantry, and you got 1,000 points. So I do like that potentially. It's not as strong competitively as a lot of other things, but I'm keen to see it on the table. And it's also high magic, cav, high skill to use. It's the kind of list that appeals to me, and I've been playing it for a while already before this Legion came out. I do love using it. So that's a potential. I think when I go and compete internationally in places, I try and go to New Zealand. Obviously, we're not going to be doing much of that at the moment, but there may be a chance that I'll be competing in New Zealand again soon. So I probably I'm just going to end up falling back to Rohan for those, because it's done, it's ready. But we'll see. Perhaps perhaps we'll start to bring in the Riv Knights. The good thing about Riv Knights, again, is it is sort of low model count. But, you know, obviously then you need dismounts, and I guess the thing that started bumming me out about Riv Knights is really you don't take Glorfindel. You have to take Elrond, obviously, because you need the, you need him to get access to the Rivendell Knights, and not counting towards the bow limit. So that's a huge part of it, and he has to come. And then basically you have to take Gil-galad because he's amazing. And Glorfindel, his profile looks wicked. It just looks so good. But for the amount of points that he costs, he just never manages to have enough time to do enough to justify it. And it's like, yeah, sure, rarely he'll die because he's a beast. But he's just, yeah, it's like he's missing a little bit of something. And then there's a reason why he's not seen that often in really big tournament lists. So I feel like his place is probably less in a Riv Knights army than it is in like a Rivendell-Linden alliance, like the Battle of Fornost army I've been working on for ages. So that might be how I get my Glorfindel fix. It's weird, this cloak I'm nailing much faster. Perhaps it's the way the folds are, or perhaps it's because my fingers are warming up. But I'm really getting these blends quite quickly, which is exciting. Oh, mustn't forget the cloak underneath the legs. We only want a few little highlights on there, but we don't want it to be just dark green. Or it will be very obvious we haven't touched it. So that's looking nice already. Now I'm going to bring in the really sharp highlights and see what I can do with some degree of subtlety to really push this contrast up. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna open the pot. I'm gonna open the pot. I want like some proper bright green here. So this is some pure goblin green. Goblin green? Phew. Rip. This is some pure warpstone glow. It's a layer paint, so it is quite thin. So I should be able to blend it in pretty easily. This might be going too extreme, and it looks like it as it's going down. But I reckon as it dries, because it's a thin layer paint, it's gonna blend all right. Oh, it's quite thin, so it's harder to control. Keeping it to these recesses and going speedy. Hitting these cloak folds. So yeah, what's my next army? I don't know, in short. And then the other army, of course, is Khand and Easterlings, the Wain Riders. I've been desperate to work on them for ages. I just, you know, I have like a zillion projects that I want to work on. And it's hard to find the time. So I'll probably keep on Rohaning. I'll probably, at the big tournaments, I'll probably keep on Rohaning. And then, of course, there's the other army, which is my Angmar. So that's my evil force. So, you know, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. Yeah. Good question, Tim. I don't have an answer for you. I mean, at least there's not that many tournaments happening at the moment, so I haven't had to decide. There we go. That's the green done. Let's have a look at how Mablung looks as he's drying. So see how subtle that's gone as it's dried? So that's what I mean. Even though they look quite harsh, once it blends in, it really just goes straight together. And I think we want some stuff that's probably a little bit more exaggerated than that. So I'm actually going to just come in and go a quick second pass just on the really obvious cloak folds. We won't spend forever doing this because we've been painting this one colour for a long time. But this is my favourite part. This is why I've always loved painting Rangers of Gondor when I first played Gondor as a kid. It's because I really loved painting green fabric. But this is sometimes what it's like. You just do heaps of random layers. Wetland, 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 until you're like, alright, I'm leaving it. I'm happy there. And then you'll be like, oh, I'll do a bit more. And then you'll be like, ah, fuck, it's crap now. Then you'll spend half an hour trying to recapture that magic you had, and then eventually get frustrated and be like, damn it, that looks good enough. So knowing when to leave it is an important skill. There we go. So just touched up Mablung a bit there with some extra layers. And that's what I mean, how this is looking quite bright and garish. But I think as it dries, it'll be alright. So, we're going to leave the greens there for now. Pretty happy with them. They'll dry, they'll be sunned, they'll be muted. Let's swing back to our reference. Cool. Alright, so we're going to do another little session of wet blending by the looks of it. I'm going to grab Charred Brown from Vallejo. And I'm going to grab Dark Flesh Tone. Where did Dark Flesh Tone go? There he is. And we are going to do the exact same thing, but I'm not putting a contrast down first. I'm just going to put Charred Brown down, and then as I'm base coating, I'm going to have a bit of Dark Flesh Tone straight out of the bottle in the palette, and I'll just grab that on the same brush and blend it in for a bit of natural highlights. So what we want to hit here is we want to hit the central tabard. For some reason I'm starting on Anborn. Ah, he's on the handle, that's fine. So we want to hit this main tabard here, and it might be a case of putting down a base coat first before we bother with any wet blending. The difficulty with painting with these grey models, you know, with a grey prime, is that it's not a particularly forgiving prime, which means that if I rush it just to get it done for you guys, it's really obvious when I've missed bits. It shows up under the light straight away. So the one thing I don't want to do is go and put brown all over my green. I'm actually managing to get a really good coverage though, which is nice. Throw some brown up in under that arm to fill out the rest of that colour. I'm also going to hit the arm brace. I think that's called a van brace for an archer. Can't remember. Definitely going to need a second coat. Well, that's the look we're going for. We'll probably end up washing this layer as well. Oh, my phone's nearly dead. Got my charger there, but it means I have to move it over to the other side. Let's plug it in. Oh, wow. Okay, there we go, phone plugged in. Let's get this brown down everywhere. Yeah, I tell you what I'm going to do, just for the sake of ease, I think the way to do this is to literally just put brown down over this entire region and then pick out the other colours. That's going to be a much more satisfying painting approach. So brown down, all over this tabard. You guys see that? Yeah, I'll come back to here, looks like it's a bit better. And that part there, that should be brown as well. The sleeve, the upper sleeve that comes out. Gotta make sure to get all the way up and under and around. That'll be fine, and then one day later you'll see a bit of grey and you'll be very sad. Cool, and then of course we want to get this van brace again. I think what I'll end up doing is making that underneath section between the van brace and the upper sleeve either the light brown or maybe even a black leather look, but we'll get to that in due course. These are really cool models, I gotta say, really cool. I'm also gonna make the leg leathers, like the shin leathers, this darker brown, because that will have been broken up and quite far away from the tabard, so we can get away with reusing this brown there. This is one we need to be careful when applying, so if it looks a bit crap for a bit, sorry guys. Just can't afford to get it on the green that we just finished. Alright, bit of brown there, that's one shin done. Shin done. All the way around the foot. But yeah, they're such lovely models, it's ridiculous. Such lovely models. Alright, so that's going to be this region here that's grey, that's going to be our lighter brown. Oh, the scabbard should probably be this chocolate brown. So you can see, guys, I'm just focusing on the largest layers and knocking out these broad base coats. It helps like define what's what on the model. Eventually they'll get some sort of metallic on the end of the scabbard, but cool. Looking good. Looking good. Any other brown bits? Oh, of course. I guess this thing. The Quiver. That would be this darker brown as well. This is a huge one that we do not want to accidentally get on the green. So this is a layer that's all about control. I do not want to screw this up. That's when your painting handles really shine. Don't get the shafts. We'll use some contrast paints on them. And we'll go up around the quiver. Top of the quiver. Alright. Oh, and I'll get the grip as well. The grip on the sword that's poking out. Honestly, I can probably even do the bow. There is a lot that's going to be this brown. But I mean, these ranges are basically green and brown, right? They've got little pops of other bits, but their predominant themey element is that those wooden camouflagey colours. They're really lovely bows, nice and long. They're good sculpts. They're really good sculpts. It makes me go, imagine if we had like a whole, 24 warrior box set of sculpts of this quality. Jeez, be pretty mind-blowing. Alright. So I'm going to let that fully dry. I'm going to come over to the chat for a second. I suppose we could also do his hair, actually. Okay. Goodness me. Let's just come and fly back up to the top of this chat. This is going off. Wow. Okay, people are talking about Elrond. Yes, Elrond generates the Rivendell Knights. Jakob Smirnoff is joining us from Texas. Morning, Jakob. People are talking about how the Army of the Dead is quite forgiving. Oh my goodness, let me go all the way up to the top. Far out. Yeah, Tim Thorpe says same thing. He runs Riv Knights too, and he has the same problem, that you can't really afford Glorfindel because he's awesome, but he never does enough for his points. He runs Elrond and the Twins. Yeah, the Twins are definitely a good shout. Yeah, it's good stuff. Nerd Shack has arrived. Evening Nerd Shack. Simon says, your videos have inspired me and my daughter to jump into the Lord of the Rings miniature game. Fantastic. That's what we like to hear. Games Workshop, I'll take my check now. Yeah, always love to hear that we get more people into the hobby. The best hobby of the world. Pull the camera closer so we can see the Inception level recursive stream. Yeah, let's see if that actually works. If I do that... Oh, my phone nearly died doing that. I don't really think it's gonna... Oh yeah, it does work, right? Because it's a phone of a phone of a phone of a phone. It doesn't go very far though. Okay, that was fun. What have we done? I think that's everything from the chat that I have. I think that's all the questions. If there's any other questions I've missed, fire them through again. You guys are talking a lot this evening. There's 100 of you. Lewis Mag says, I love your videos, Lockie. You've reignited my love of the hobby after 10 years. That's freaking awesome. That's the shit we like to hear. Beautiful. Okay, that's all the questions. Let's have a look at these guys. So, Anborn, he's got his brown down, right? So this is exactly what I was talking about before. I've got that brown prime down. Now I'm just going to quickly grab a little bit more brown, slap it over the top to make sure that we've got that sort of working layer there. It helps even out, that might be too thin actually. It helps even out the base coat as well, which is always good. But more importantly, it gives us that wet working layer. Alright, that looks fairly solid. And now I'm going to come in with dark flesh tone. And we're just going to apply some really subtle highlights. Dark flesh tone is a very subtle tonal difference, but it is a tonal difference. And it's great, because you can just hit it over the top. You can be really quick and really lazy with it. And it just creates... Can you even see that? No, of course not. And it creates just some nice subtle variation on the brown. So I sort of hit it. It's like anything that's the top of a surface gets a hit of flesh tone. But I'll leave the pure charred brown in the recesses. Boom. Very, very simple and broad wet blends here. And then what I'll do is when that's all dry, I'll hit it with Null Oil just to really exaggerate that as well. So that is the dark brown pretty much done, I'd say, on that guy. Oh, hang on, we've missed a bit here, right at the back of the quiver. I don't know what colour hair Anborn's meant to have. Yeah, I don't know. Someone have a look. Someone in the chat go crazy for me and look up Anborn's hair. I just have a feeling it's black. Oh, apparently in the... No. That's Mablung. That's Mablung. So we're looking for a brighter hair color for this guy. So I think we'll do that, the bright hair color similar to this leather. So that's our next big layer, I think. Is that bigger leather layer. So I think I have no plans for this. Everyone in the chat, has anyone ever had luck with snakebite leather, the contrast? Does anyone want to convince me to try out snakebite leather? I feel like this might be the time to give it a whirl. He's a mousy blonde, says Andrew, but paint him ginger. Alright, here's some snakebite leather. Let's give this a whirl. I think in the past I've had difficulty making it work, and maybe multiple coats might help, but it's that lighter leather color. So, you know, in reality, I probably should have done this layer first so that I could preserve the grey, but I think I've actually been pretty neat. I sort of had it in the back of my mind that snakebite leather might come out for this layer. So this is that kind of sandier leather tone. Am I doing this off camera again? Right, I'm obviously desperate to paint over there with the way I'm holding the camera. So it might not be the prettiest background, guys, but at least you'll be able to see more consistently. And it wants to be up as well. How about I just move my chair, move my wet palette, which is my bracing point, and bring it back over here. So if that's where I'm painting, you guys should be able to see. The reason it's happening is because I'm trying to get it close, so you've got better vision. Alright, if I rest my hands there, it's going to be on the camera. Gosh, you'd think I'd never done this before. Snakebite leather is also going to go down on the hair, I think. That's going to be our base point. We'll probably do something to make that look different. But I'm just really enjoying... Oh man, it looks good on hair. Really enjoying, like, getting so much paint down over all the model. Yeah, with like a sandy blonde highlight. That'd be a cool tone on that hair. Yeah. Snakebite leather's done alright here, I think. I think we'll hit the snakebite leather on this inner colour as well. Wasn't going to, but digging it now. So this is like that sleeve that goes between the different colours. Just like, because everything is natural fibers, I kind of don't really care if the colors are a bit like bleeding across layers and things, because I can do like a touch-up pass to clean things up. But at the end of the day, all these natural fibers and things, they are different hues, and when you stand back and look at the model, you go, oh yeah, sick, it's all those different leathery bits. And just because, like, you know, I don't mind if it's not completely contained to the region it should be. So that looks pretty solid. We're going to let that dry. And then I'm going to grab some black Templar. and target a few of the black pieces. James Morris says, first time actually catching the stream live. Your terrain building is insanely fun to watch. Just wondering if anyone has used an ultrasonic cleaner to strip minis. Yes, Jimmy. Ultrasonic cleaners are life, particularly for metals. Just chuck methylated spirits in there, throw the ultrasonic cleaner in there, push a button and walk away, and you'll pull those metal models out, and the paint will be sitting at the bottom, and they'll be like shiny. It's really great. I'm just chucking some black Templar down now on the trim. So this is that black element that we wanted to bring in. So this is going, yeah, on the trim around the green. So this looks pretty subtle on these guys. I'm actually quite liking seeing that going down. I'm going to pick out a few of the straps with this black Templar. Now, obviously, it's applying down over the brown. So it is going to have, like, some tones underneath it. It's not going straight down over neutral grey, but I don't really care, because it's like, you know, it's all weird leather colours, right? Like, we just don't really care. There's a few straps and things. Oh, all of that should have been brown. I've missed a huge chunk there. There's a strap there. It needs to be green, black rather, but I need to not get it on the green, which is what I was thinking. That's why I said green. And the boots, right? That was the other big layer I wanted to make black. Have black leather boots, so that they look like a different type of leather to the leather on the legs and things. And it's quite nice. It sort of frames them as well. Sexy. Oh, there's a little bit of prime there, which is the edging of the black, so it should technically be black Templar. Underneath, you can just have a little rim of black. So there we go. We've got flesh tones to do. Looks like all of our base tones are going down pretty well. I'm just going to jump back to my palette, grab some charred brown, and just throw it into this huge chasm of prime, which I don't know how got missed. Which should absolutely 100% all be brown. No idea how that happened. So there's some metallic detail still to go down, there's some flesh, but I'll do all of that basically once I'm happy with the cloth. I'm thinking... I'm trying to decide whether or not these sleeves should be black. I don't mind them like that, they look quite good. Cool, so that is... Let's have a look at Anborn. So obviously the feathers and fletching need to be done, but I'll do them together at the end. I need some washes to go down on various layers, but all of that will need to dry first. And then it'll be washes, a few bits of final highlights. Yeah, let's show you guys what the hell I've done so far. So this is where we're at. The green's looking fantastic, the brown's looking good, but needs a wash and potentially one more highlight. The leather, the brighter leather, is actually looking very good for what I thought it would do, but perhaps a wash on that would do well too. But yeah, he's in a great place. I've missed a little bit of his hair. So Maxi says, if you've done no shading, how are there so many dark recesses already? And that's the whole point, Maxi, of my wet blending approach. So I haven't put any shades down, but I built up like a layer of gradients and a layer of kind of different colors as I wet blended up midtones. So those greens, I'm not actually going to bother putting a shade on them. I really like that subtle green shift in color. It's what real cloth looks like, not what heavy metal looks like. And I did the same thing with the browns. I did some wet blending of some lighter browns into the darker browns as I was applying them, and so that's given me some really nice contrast without actually putting any shade down. And then the contrast paints create some shade naturally, because they're that thicker, heavy glaze. Okay, so we're going to let that guy dry, and we're going to just come and quickly apply those same base coats to Mablung, our other guy, and I'm going to come over to the chat first and have a glass of water. Hey, it's Broadsword. No, Maxi, only like one layer is contrast. Most of those weren't. So the only contrast paint, I'll show you in a second. Ollie from Broadsword Gaming has joined us. Evening, Ollie. So the only layer. Come on, sharps, 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 sharps. The only layer that is contrast is this bad boy here. That's just a snakebite leather pass straight down. But all of those greens are wet blended. The red is wet blended. The brown, sorry. And the black is a contrast paint, but it isn't doing much contrasty stuff yet. Oh man, look at that! Look at under that lip there. Just completely missed that. Can you guys see that prime? Glad we pulled this guy out again. So that is just a bit of brown. This is the problem of sometimes painting for camera, is that you do miss hugely obvious things because you're holding the model a certain way so that you guys can see or whatever. That's good enough, and then the null oil will take care of the rest of it. So we're going to let Anborn dry. We are going on to what's his name? Mablung. Ollie says, how are you over there? You've been putting paint on these past few weeks. I have a feeling that is a specific quip to the fact that I take forever to paint because of my failure in the 24-hour challenge. Or perhaps he's merely commenting on the fact I have been painting a lot of crap lately. Yeah, I'm good. The hand cramp is severe, Ollie. The hand cramp is severe. Let's do the contrast layer first. Oh, see? Look how rough I was applying this green because I didn't think that was going to be contrast. Now we're paying the price because that's going to not work real well. So what I'm going to do is grab some Stonewall Grey, which is kind of the closest mid-tone grey I have, and just quickly throw a light pass over that. It's not the same as the grey prime I used, which is probably supposed to be Adeptus Mechanicus prime, but it'll work underneath the Stonewall Grey. Underneath the contrast, but I was super lazy applying that because I didn't think it was going to be a problem on those layers. But then I changed my mind. Hand claw mode engaged. Yeah, far out. All right, let's throw. While that's drying, then we'll move back to the browns. Oh, I didn't come and check the chat. That's what I was doing, and I got distracted. Has anyone painted War of the Ring? Says None Your Business. I haven't played any War of the Ring, but I'm desperate to do so at some point. I love big rank and flanks. Andrew Lemaire says he's in a great place. Sure is. Safe in your hands. That's very sweet. Yes, it was just the hair recipe was just snakebite leather, but we'll do more to that. People are arguing over Rangers versus the Strength 3 longbows. They're both good, yeah. I mean, the problem with Citadel Guard is that they sort of don't really have a niche within the army at the moment. If you want shooting, you take Rangers for the Strength 3 bows. For the 3+ shoot value. And the Citadel Guard obviously have their Strength 3 bows and Bodyguard and heavy armor. So I guess you're sitting Citadel Guard back further on the lines and using Bodyguard on objectives so that they can still contribute. So, perhaps there's a case for a couple of them in some armies, but most of the time, if you're not using Citadel Guard with spears, you just take Guard of the Fountain Court. It's a better investment. So sit Guard with spears are just so not useful. Longbows is where they're at, and perhaps the models I quite like is Citadel Guard on horse with a longbow. Just a couple of them to be I think that's the epitome, is that roaming objective capture unit that can still fire off a Strength 3 bow every now and then, and just have a couple of those. I like to run 1 or 2 of them in my Gondor lists, just for that little mobile objective capture that's tied to bodyguard. Yeah, which is really nice. Alright, I'm just getting these charred brown down everywhere, basically, as we discovered when we did the first layer of this. There is so much brown on these models. So much brown. Brown, brown, brown. They do like their leather armor, these rangers. Bang, bang, bang. Where else is brown? Oh, it's everywhere! There's more scabbard in here. I've got to be careful though, because the scabbard's right up against the green cloak, and also the snakebite leather bits, and I don't want to have to clean those up again. Can't get over how well I wet blended the cloak. Did it live as well, so it was pretty rushed. Really quite happy with how it's turned out. So, all the more reason for me to not accidentally put brown all over it. Let's avoid that at all costs. I'm not doing it again. Brown, brown, brown. We need a little bit of brown on that hilt. Again, we'll do all the flesh and clean that up later, so don't even worry about trying to avoid the flesh tones right now. And let's get the brown on the scabbard. That's the big one. Really careful pass working up to the green, and then slightly less, but still fairly careful on this top surface. That's the worst thing, is you get careless right on the top and go, ah, sick, I did the edge, and then you overshoot and just ram brown all over your green. Not a fan of that. Now I'll clean up the other side. Bearing in mind that this will get washed, which means that the recess join between the 2 layers will get like a mini black line from that, so, you know, we're going to be fine. I'm keeping it off the hair, because I want a black Templar that, so I'd ideally like that relatively intact, but it's not the biggest deal breaker. Okay, so that looks like I've got pretty good coverage on the brown. Now I'm going to do that same thing of just applying another quick brown layer over the top, just to set up that wet working layer. Everywhere I want to be brown is getting the brown, and then I'm going to come back in with dark flesh tone. And we're just going to do some little edge highlights and blend it straight into the wet layer, just to create a little bit of subtle variation. Oh, just missed the whole top of the bow, that's fine. Whatever, that's gonna have to get fixed. So yeah, I'm not being really insane with these, I'm just slapping them kind of anywhere, and then we'll let the wash do most of the heavy lifting. It's just to create a little bit of variation so it's not a completely flat layer. Blam, blam, blam. Blam. Cool. That's looking good. Let's grab Black Templar. None Your Business says, is Pelennor Fields still the best way to get into the hobby? Yeah, Pelennor Fields is awesome. Fantastic box set. I'd definitely go that way if I was starting again. Just get a bunch of miniatures. If you're happy with those factions. Otherwise, just it's going to cost you a bit more, but you can just blow some money at your local store and order in the factions that you want. So Black Templar on the hair. Because Mablung has black hair and Black Templar's the best. Absolutely love this stuff. And hair is made for contrast paints. It's friggin' awesome. I'm trying to keep it off his skin on the face, because I do sort of want to have that grey prime there underneath for putting the skin tones down, but it's not the end of the world. While I've got the Black Templar out, I'm just going to pick out a bunch of these straps. It's actually quite difficult because the browns are still wet, so it's not really cooperating because the contrast paints are a little thin. But that's okay. I'm going to do the boots. Just realised I've forgotten to do the brown shins. Smashing these guys. I'm totally going to have 2 painted rangers by the end of this stream, which is good because I need them for filming on Saturday. And a little bit of... oh, being real careful here. Just getting the back of shoes and things. Okay. That is looking pretty good. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Let's grab... oh, actually, I forgot Black Templar. I need to do the trim of this lower hanging tabard thing. So this bit is meant to be black. Black, 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 black. Don't want to get this on the nicely blended green that I've done. Ooh, yeah, like that. Fine. Thicken that line up, should be okay. And same thing here. Don't want to get this, you guys can't even see this because it's dicky, but as I work up to that black layer against all of these regions that are going to be snakebite leather, sorry, you won't be able to see for a sec, guys. I need to not screw that up. Okay, so there we go. Done the black lining there around that green. Now we're going to grab the snakebite leather. Snakebite leather is... where have you gone, snakebite leather? There you are. Really enjoying painting these sculpts. There's just so much detail. Ooh. Thought I was going to knock over snakebite leather then. Alright, so working that snakebite leather right up to the edges. Making sure we've got good coverage. There's lots of... this Black Templar is wet, so I don't want to accidentally blend those 2 layers together, so just being careful there. All of that will be the darker brown. I'm going to throw some snakebite leather in there and get all of that toned to be the undercolors. That should have been snakebite leather, but it's not, so that's fine. I'll get past it. Cool, that's another layer down, and you'll see there that I have forgotten the pants. The dark brown pants. So what I'm going to do, I think, is I'm going to grab another contrast paint, I reckon. Where's Kygor brown? That's Basilicanum grey. Oh, actually, that might be fun. Some grey leather? Some little grey leather wraps? Let's give that a whirl, see what that looks like. They're not in like a uniform, they're in just sort of like green and brown camouflage clothing, so let's see what the Basilicanum grey looks like. We could even wash the Basilicanum grey application with like a bit of Agrax or a bit of Seraphim Sepia to give it more of like a coloured tone. So essentially this, yeah, this looks awesome. This Basilicanum grey is building like a bit of a luminance profile that will then glaze over tint with probably Agrax. There we go. That's looking quite nice now. While I'm here, I'm going to hit the feathers. I will hit the shafts as well. Basilicanum grey is a really nice... like, honestly, I call Basilicanum grey heavy Nuln Oil. It's quite fun. Doesn't quite have the magic of Nuln Oil, but it does some really great stuff quickly and more heavily. Right, hitting the feathers, just leaving back to Anborn for a second. You know what would be great if I could actually sit in the right part of the camera. A bit all over the shop tonight, guys. I'm very tired. Cool, that's looking good. That's looking really good. Gonna whiz back to Mablung. So Mablung's basically about the same place now. So I think it's shade time for our first one, and Mr. Anborn. Swap these bad boys over. So Null Oil's coming in, and Null Oil's going to go down basically all over the leather, I think. So this just dumping a huge pool of Null Oil right here in the middle, and I'm just pulling that down over all of the brown. The Snakebite Leather brown, the Charred Earth brown, the Black Templar, even the green tabard in the center. I don't care. If it's here, it's getting brown on it. And that's just to increase the contrast, and just to kind of blend and tie everything together, and really emphasize that recessed detail. What this does mean, though, is it means this model is going to be wet for a little while, but that's okay. Oh yeah, I might actually do Snakebite Leather hair as well. Oh, I should probably do that with Agrax, actually. I'm not doing the green, though, which is important. Not touching the green. I'm also going to do the Quiver. This helps really push the cool recessed detail of the Quiver, which I think we get highlighted with gold? I can't remember. So we'll come back to that. Beautiful. That looks glossy as shit right now, because of course... Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that looks very glossy, but it's fine. I'm going to wick away that Null Oil off the hair. I'm a fan of that. And we'll throw down some Agrax on the hair. Look at this. Right now, I've got Null Oil and Snakebite Leather open. Do I want like $10 worth of paint all over my desk? Far out. Agrax. There we go. Such gloss, much wow. But that's okay. It is wet, and of course these bad boys will be matte varnished, but you won't see that on the stream. Take my word for it that it will happen. Of course it doesn't. Inevitably I'm like, and then I'll matte varnish these models once the stream's over, and it never happens. Cool. I'm actually, while I've got a bit of Agrax, I'm just quickly throwing a bit of that on the Snakebite Leather. It blends a bit with the Null Oil or whatever, I don't really care. But it's just a cool little earthy tone to just blend in every now and then. I'm working my shades now, guys. I'm an animal. Alright, let's have a look at this bad boy. So, ignoring the wet glossiness, all that model really needs now is for the metallics to go down, the flesh tone to be done, and then we could do like a fine detail pass and just do some proper hardcore edge highlighting on layers, and that is all about our bases and shades done on him. Oh, we're going to have a look at Anborn now. And he's basically in the same place. The Basilicanum Grey is still wet, but everything else is fine. So let's throw shades down on him. We'll start with Agrax this time, and I'll have a look at some targeted areas that I want to put Agrax, which I think is going to be namely the Snakebite Leather layer. Might throw Agrax on the green. Agrax always looks nice on green, and I'll put it on the boots as well, like we talked about. Oh, I'll put it on the leather wrap as well, just to tint that. Because now it's not grey, it's like a slightly brown grey. Cool, and then the rest of it's going to be Null Oil. Where's my Null Oil gone? Oh, I've got gelato in the fridge. Jeez, that'd be nice. Alright, let's dump all the Null Oil onto this leather. I do hope that this leather is dry. I'm moving a little faster than I would normally. It's looking like it's okay. There's not as much exposed arm work on this guy. That Null's going down nicely. And now I want to hit the Quiver, of course. Just going down very nicely. Might also hit the Black Templar with the Null Oil on his hair. Just extra shading, extra blending. Oh, don't forget the little tabard that's in there. The scabbard. And he is looking pretty mint as well. I might end up washing those grey bits with a bit of Seraphim Sepia. I'm regretting not including more of these kind of grey, beigey colours. That would have been nice up in the arms, but yeah, that's pretty happy. That's pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that. So, what silver do we have on these models? Well, there's probably some buckles, and then there's the sword, which probably could have done with a slight hot water bender, but anyway. So those bad boys are going to dry. Oh, jeez, look out that cup. They're looking pretty solid already. Looking pretty solid already. All right, let me come over to the chat. Richard Clemmer says, looking good, Lockie. I'm surprised you're painting these since I dislike the Legendary Legion so much. Yeah, the Legion, I'm not the biggest fan of, but I still love Rangers of Gondor. They're like my second favourite units after, you know, Rohan Royal Guard. All I ever wanted to do when I was a kid was play Reenact Athelion, or Reenact Osgiliath. Faramir was my favourite character when I was like 10 years old. And my grandpa bought me a bow, and I used to just run around in the bush near my house and shoot stuff. And pretend I was killing Easterlings. So I love Faramir. I love Faramir's Rangers. I love Anborn and Mablung. They're like some of my favourite little dudes. I just don't like the Legion in terms of its playstyle in the competitive sense. But I love Osgiliath, veterans, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm stoked on these guys. They're for a battle report. Someone replied that, and they are correct. So I'm painting these guys up for an Osgiliath battle report we're doing this weekend, which is my contribution. I'm painting up 2 of the models we're going to be filming with, and Mark's painting up like 50, and Ryan painted up like 30. So it's good. I've got a good little balance there. James says, not sure if it's a silly question, but I watched a few videos that said a very fine point pen is a viable option for pupils instead of painting them. Yes, I've heard that too, but I've never actually tried it out myself. We've got steel longbows. I think you guys are talking about Numenorians now. There should be strength 4. Yeah, strength 4 bows for Numenor would be pretty cool. People, Benji's Hobbies is tuning in. Mr. Benjamin Bowles. Hello, my dude. Says, perfect afternoon listening while I churn away, smashing through some Rangers. People are getting excited about a second age supplement at some point. That would be very cool. I would love to see that. Hopefully it'll line up with something with Amazon, but who knows? We haven't heard anything about that yet. Ombleo's got a great question. He says, big fan of your content, Lockie. Quick question. What would your best advice be to someone who is pretty poor at painting, apart from watering down the paints and practice? Okay, good question. What would be my biggest piece of advice? Probably just paint shit is the easiest one. Just paint stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. Just paint stuff. You just get better so much faster the more you paint. And there's like so many YouTube creators out there now and so many resources that it's really overwhelming. You find yourself watching 15-20 hours of painting resources and all these techniques. Just put paints on the model and paint stuff. It's gonna look like crap. It's gonna be really rough, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? and you will get better, and eventually you will paint over those old schemes. But yeah, it's all about just painting and finding ways to make it fun, getting podcasts to listen to, painting with your mates. That is like one of the best ways I love to paint, is like going around to somebody's house, which is obviously difficult at the moment, but in the normal world, or doing it on Zoom, you know, sitting on Discord and painting. I do that sometimes, and I've got some crap I've got to get through, as I just sit in Discord with a couple of my mates, and we all just talk as we're all painting together. You know, watching movies as you paint, stuff to kind of make it a relaxing, enjoyable experience, because you don't want it to feel like a chore, and you will just eventually get better. Yeah, put down shades are amazing. Use shades, base coat, shade, highlight. It's all you need. It's all you need for the start. People are definitely talking about it's a good deal for the Pelennor Fields. Kieran's got a question. Kieran, I think he's talking about the Silmarillion. They're talking about the game, the new Amazon show. No, it's not from the Silmarillion. It is content licensed exclusively from the Lord of the Rings. That's what the production license is for. Aaron says, shame there's no Citadel Guard models on horseback. No, there aren't any available, but you can do some amazing conversion. Yeah, Citadel Guard with bows, a fight 5 with Boromir. Yeah, I totally agree. That's part of that whole, like, put Citadel Guard on a bow on a horse thing, because they can cap objectives, or they can ride in with Boromir. Definitely. They're very, very cool. Matty Hogg says, do you plan to get Barlaman? Yeah, absolutely. Love myself Barlaman Butterbur. He's an amazing character. And Harry Goatleaf as well. I love that stuff so much. The Shire is like my favourite part of Middle-earth, and Bree, and that whole region. The first half of the Fellowship of the Ring is my favourite part of all the books before they get to Rivendell. I love it so much. Yeah, I'll absolutely be getting Barlaman. Hopefully GW shoot him over to me and we can do some painting stuff. I think that you'll probably see them on stream. Benny Fitzgerald says, when are you starting the quest for the Ringbearer campaign? We start filming this weekend, Benny, and we'll have 4 of the... We're not going to do all the scenarios, because I've got a lot more... you know, Ministerious. The Ministerious arc is the focus here on the channel for this year. So we're just going to do like a little mini campaign, which I'll smash out really quickly for you guys, so you can watch all 4 within like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Look at that, I'm already changing my mind there. You know, I just want to smash through that really quickly for you guys, so that you can actually appreciate sort of a bit of a condensed story, and then we'll get back to finally working on Minas Tirith again, which is kind of my pride and joy at the moment. Alright, let's start doing some metallics and flesh, and then get the washes down on those, and then it's highlights, and then I can go to bed. Where is Leadbelcher? There she is. 1:30. Alright, I've got 35 minutes to be in bed asleep, or it's just going to get ridiculous, and I'm going to get crucified tomorrow by the missus. So, Leadbelcher's going down. I'm going to apply that on the sword. Wonder if I should use some Canoptic Alloy today. It's a bit of a layer. Get a bit more of that Leadbelcher. I probably could put Leadbelcher in the palette, but I'm just using so little of it, I haven't bothered with it. Alright, where else do we want silver? I just don't actually think there's that many buckles on these models. I'm just gonna come right in. You might be able to see my face while I have a look. There's a little buckle. Most of the buckles are like leathery though. Just doing a few little touches of silver. Yep, there's not many buckles. That's kind of all the silver there is, actually. Alright, let's have a look at Anborn, and I don't think there's going to be any silver. It's all leather strapping, like tied together in little knots and bits of string, and... Yeah, wow. Okay, so that was an easy layer. That's all our silver. We're going to grab some gold. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to look at our reference photo again. There is some serious gold on these guys. A few little bits of bling everywhere. So yeah, we're gonna grab some Retributor armor for sure. Retributor armor, Retributor armor. Where have you gone? There you are. I'll throw a bit of this down to the pallet because this is gloopy stuff. I wonder if this is actually too thin. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to pick out the pommels. Oh, that's nice and thin. Beautiful. Pommel is good. I'm going to pick out the metal bracketing on the scabbard, but you know, it's not like a solid block of gold, it's just this bit of metal banding. Oh man, it's really nice seeing this sculpted in such nice detail. The original metal ones, this is kind of a bit hard to know where the banding actually is, and you sort of just take a bit of a guess. That's exactly where it is, I can see that. And now we've got the gold detailing on the back of the quiver. Just taking a flat aspect of the brush. Gonna spin that guy around. Just picking out those fine details. Doesn't matter if you don't get 100% of it, because you know it's pretty worn and battered stuff, and it's all going to get Agrax Earth shaded, so it'll all blend nicely. And now we want a little bit of gold. Where's the top of the scabbard? Oh, of course, it's got the sword in it in this model. And then there's probably... oh yeah, there's one little buckle in there that should be gold. That's fine. Beautiful. A little bit of gold there. We're not doing, you know, display quality stuff here. We're doing very much battle ready, so we're not going to go in and pick out all of the edge highlights on all of those tiny little buckles and all that kind of stuff. We just want to capture the essence of these guys nice and quickly tonight. Making sure I get the crossguard of this Gondorian sword with that beautiful gold. Retributor armor's going down really nicely over the grey prime. We've got the pommel tucked in away all painfully up the back there. And then we've got some gold banding on the top of the scabbard. And then, can you guys see? Maybe not, but in there on the scabbard, there's like a bunch of kind of gold detailing. You'll probably see it as the paint goes down, because it will brighten up. Which is very cool. Very nicely sculpted, that stuff. Ah, crap, I just got gold all over the brown. On the bow, so it's easy cleanup. Easy cleanup. We'll get rid of it while it's wet. Done. Gone. Nailed it. So that's looking good. And then it's just the gold on the bow again. Then that's all our metallics done. This is a little wet, so I want to make sure this gold doesn't run. I've got to be really careful not to get it near the recesses. That's what happens when you're working on wet layers. Yeah, this is too wet to highlight, I think. Beautiful. Bit of gold, bit of gold. Fantastic. Bam. Okay, so that is our gold done. Let's do our flesh. These guys are flying along. Where's my Kislev flesh? So I'm going to throw Kislev down in the pallet. And then I'm running out of room in this damn pallet. And then I'm going to grab some bone white. Actually, I'll just do the Kislev base first, because I'll have to Reichland and stuff anyway. So what we want to do, of course, is pick out the fingers. I'm going to get in a better position in my chair, hang on. Oh. Nerd Chat says, Lockie, when will the next Ministerious battle report be out? Well, considering the gatehouse that is needed for that scenario hasn't even been started, I would say it's quite a while away. That gatehouse build is going to be at least a 2-month build, I reckon. So I would say that battle report is probably a while away. The benefit is that once that gatehouse and the buildings and stuff are done, the next 2 battle reports will come out very, very quickly, like in a row on purpose. But yeah, unfortunately, like, you know, that the story arc for that is a bit, you know, delayed, which does suck, but it's okay. It's back to Ministerious very, very soon, which has been murdering me because it's one, honestly, what I want to work on the most. So excited for it. And I mean, I have been working on it, but I haven't made the videos yet. I've got quite a bunch of amazing wall section now that people have been sending me, so it's all coming together. Alright, so just focusing on getting a nice even coat of Kislev all over Anborn's face. I'm going to do his brown beard at the very end, so don't think I've forgotten that. That was applied a bit messy, so I'm just going to clean up. See you, Liam. See you next time, my dude. And clean up that face. Get the skin tone off the green there. I'm so happy with the bloody cloth on the green cloaks. Let's do the flesh on Anborn. My goodness, I am hungry. Stomach is rumbling. Oh, that's not a shot. Come on, get it together. Kislev flesh all over the fingers. I'm so glad I managed to, like, whip myself into shape. I'm getting 2 of them done at once. So the 4 fingers and then the thumb. It's not the whole hand. Make sure you do remember there's that little leather wrap that comes down out, sort of like a half glove. Now you can see here that some of these fingers have been painted brown, so getting the Kislev flesh to go down over the top is more difficult. That's why I tried to preserve the grey where I could. And now we've got the Kislev flesh going down over the grey of the face, and you can see how much better that is. I'm excited to use these guys in the battle report. I think they're going to be really fun. Cool. So that is the flesh tone done. While that dries, we're just going to do a little highlight on the feathers, I think. I'm just going to grab some Praxetti White, my dry paint. Might grab one of my dry brushes as well. Grab this little guy, which is a dry brush that's quite controlled. It's quite thin. Just going to load up some Praxetti. Take most of it off. I'm just going to hit the feathers. Just start a little highlight. This Praxetti fucking dried out too much, I reckon. There we go. Alright, let's put those feathers accented. I prefer the white fletched feathers to the yellow fletched feathers that they have on the GW scheme. Not sure what the hell they're supposed to be. Yellow fletched feathers. Seems super weird. Maybe there's some reasoning behind that I'm not aware of. I'd love to know if that's the case. Darren McWilliams has joined us. Oh, thanks for watching, Andy. He says he's off to bed. There's only so much Minecraft I can do at 1:30 in the morning. Yes, go to sleep, dude. Darren McWilliams has joined us. He says he's just gotten home from work. He was watching a bit earlier while he was teaching. Excellent. That's what we like to hear. I hope you're showing the kids, getting them enthused. So now that Kislev is dry, I'm just going to bring in some Reikland Flesh Shade just to warm up those skin tones a bit and give the beautiful face sculpts a little bit of definition. So Reikland down on the face. That's way too heavy. I'll just Reikland up the fingers. Pull off the excess away from the face. But what it does do is it just warms up. And yeah, it creates that recessed definition. I'll do the same thing with Mablung. Recessed definition on the fingers. It's the big ticket item here. And in and around the eyes, I suppose. Yeah, make sure I get that other cheek. Very nice. Just nice, simple Caucasian tones. Joshy says they mentioned it on a podcast once. It's to make it fit better within the color wheel mostly, although I would rather they look real than fancy. Yeah, that's bloody stupid. Shouldn't be yellow fletched feathers. Ridiculous. But that's fine. We can all do what we want with our own hobby. Man, look how great these models are coming together. I really like the scheme. It's just greens and browns and a bit of black and a bit of grey. All mixed in, nice and neutral. Let's get some shades down on those metallics. So I'm going to grab some Nuln Oil. Yeah, we'll go Nuln Oil. We want to keep it real. I was thinking Basilicanum Grey maybe, but we want the nice steel of this sword to be pretty bright, just to have a little bit of definition. So Nuln Oil on the steely sword. I'm just going to throw this spare stuff down on the leather and darken that up a bit. And then I'm going to grab some Agrax Earthshade and hit all of the gold. So we'll do the gold. Now I've got to be real careful because I currently have Reikland Flesh Shade on the flesh, Nuln Oil on the silver, and now I'm Agraxing all on the gold. We do not want those to run together, so keeping those together. Alright, just Agraxing basically the whole scabbard to get that Agrax down. I have to get that gold hit. And I'm doing the same thing on the back where I'm Agraxing pretty much the entire quiver. Which obviously tones the gold, but it also gives the leather another little pass of tone. Swapping models, we've got the big, bright, bold pommel. I think I need more Agrax, hey? This one I got really nice highlights on the back detail, so it's even more important. We want the scabbard to have a bit of thingo on that gold. That's pretty much it. Pommel, handle, scabbard. Can't see the crossguard. Beautiful. That's the metallics done. Smashing these guys. They are coming together now. So let's have a look at how they're going. Bring it in here for you guys. Oh, I need to change battery. 1 second, guys. You can all have a look at that while we're waiting. Bruh. Let's have a look. Working. Beautiful. Alright, so let's have a little looky-loo of this dude. Flesh is fine. Could absolutely do with another highlight. Is that base one up? No, it's okay. Yeah, we've got... I really like the snakebite leather. It's subtle. It's got the wash. I love all the leathers. I could do some edge highlighting on these, but honestly, they're totally fine. The green cloaks look really nice and blended. And they really make the model stand out. Once that is all varnished, all that shine is just going to absolutely piss off. And then we could take it further. We could do some dry brushing on the hair, maybe. Let's do a bit of that. Let's grab some bone white, and just do a really, really subtle pass. I might actually just dry brush it. Just to give that a little highlight, maybe even focusing on the top of the head. A bit more than that. Oh, a little less than that. That didn't work. Ah, that's because I just washed out this dry brush. Too much moisture in my brush. Excellent work, Lockie. Thought that was a new dry brush, but I forgot I'd already used the white. So we've gone and put a bit of gross blended white there. There we go. That was that. We got rid of most of that, and now that region is wet. Let's try and do highlights then. See if my dry brush is wet. Just want to put some subtle bone highlights just through the top of that hair. Just to give it a little bit of something along the top. Cool, that's looking good. What else? I'm really loving this guy. Now, we could of course do more work to the flesh. I'm not going to go painting pupils on the stream, because we'll be here forever. But that is totally, that's totally serviceable. It's really come up quickly. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look at this little fellow. Now, Mablung probably needs a little bit more on his flesh. He's got some really broad flesh with a little bit less character, so I'll show you guys my flesh highlights on him. I've already got some bone white in the palette. I'm just going to mix that in with my Kislev flesh to make a little elf flesh highlight, basically, the old elf flesh. We're going to come in and I'm just going to hit all of the raised areas. I'm going to do some really thin lines across the top of the forehead. I'm going to hit the cheekbones. Going to hit the eyebrows, the nose, the lips. We'll also hit the fingers. Just give it all a little bit more definition. Have that little highlight. It's quite subtle. I could probably have gone a little bit more. That wash is still a little wet, actually. And then we're going to come in and we're going to hit the Mablung's beard, which we're going to do with a brown. And I think I'll do just a little bit of charred brown. We just want to hit the very underside of that. Sure, and I'm just applying it in lots of little lines. I'm not doing a big sweeping pass because you don't want it to look really blocky. So lots of little brown lines down the bottom of the beard. Slowly filling it out. It's quite tricky because half of his face is a little difficult to get to, actually. There we go, looking good. Just a nice simple little beard. So there we have Mr. Mablung. There's a few shades to be dried. If I was taking these to like a display quality, I'd do a lot more highlights and things, but to get them on the table nice and quickly, pretty happy with those. The flesh could be highlighted more. There's more details we could pick out. But like that is just some super simple techniques that I can show you guys just to get those down and ready on the table looking absolutely fine. I really like this scheme. It inspires me to kind of bust out and strip down all my old metals. and do up a cool little force, maybe Osgiliath themed. I think that'll be really cool. I really love the green, I love the brown. The scheme works really nicely, I think. I think what I would do next time is bring in more of the grey and black. I quite liked that. It ended up sort of taking me by surprise. Who did we do that on the leggings? Was that on Mablung? Yeah, so he's got those grey leggings, which almost go bone once you wash them with Basilicanum grey. And then start that as the contrast, and then give them an Agrax. I think that's a really cool light leather colour that we've discovered there. So, I'm super happy with that. That is a dope little painting stream. Before I sign off, let me come and hang in on the chat, make sure I haven't missed any questions. So this is all in preparation for 4 battle reports, hopefully 4, maybe 3, we'll see how we go, that we're filming this weekend. So that is our little quest for the Ringbearer segment, which is going to be like a mini campaign, just with a selection of highlights from that supplement, and then we'll return to Ministerious. So some more battle reports on the way. Let me come and join you in the chat. Hikazu says, managed to catch you somewhat. Yes, just a little bit before I bailed. Darren says, coincidentally, my Patreon invoice just pinged through. Excellent. Hopefully that means mine has as well. I'll have to go and have a look. I think we've caught up with all of the chat. Nerdhouse is very excited for the Gatehouse. So is Liam. Yeah, the Gatehouse is going to be an epic build. Renga says he's off to cook dinner. Enjoy. Oh, that would be very cool. Very cool. Andy's saying that you could definitely use this as a base conversion. Yeah, that would be really cool. I like that. I like that. If they bring out a plastic Faramir, I'm going to convert him into Boromir. That would be pretty cool. I think that's what Andy's talking about. Change the boots, remove the quiver, sculpt hood, add horn, and do a head swap. That would be so cool. I'd love to see a new Faramir. It would be very cool indeed. Cool. That is it. I think we have caught up with everyone. So there we go, guys. We've got two little rangers ready to go and dominate some Haradrim, some Easterlings, whoever wanders into Athelion. Nice and quick and dirty, but really easily achievable and onto the table quickly. I'll throw some Osgiliath basing for them. Actually, tell you what, before we go, I'll give you guys a quick little sneak peek. This will be slightly dodgy because my camera's not really rigged up for this, but let's see if this works. Let's go to like 16 or something. So there is Osgiliath over there. There's parts of it that I've been working on over the last couple of days. I'm gonna lift my microphone up so you can still hear me and adjust my tripod. This will be slightly nauseating for a sec. Sorry, people. So yeah, we can see there's some of the buildings. I've basically just gotten a whole bunch of city rubble, which is one of the base readies I sell on the website, and just thrown down little piles of ready basing glue, and then throwing in a just chucking base ready at it using a mix of, it was coarse rubble for the bigger stuff, and then blending the coarse rubble with city rubble. There's another piece up the back there that's hidden by my painting chest. What other cool stuff can I show you guys? Whoa, we're going rogue now. We're going rogue. The curtain is lifted. You can see all the madness. There's some more stuff up there. There's another little piece of Osgiliath, and we've got Weathertop as well as Moria up the back there. So it is all happening. And yeah, so and then I also added in a few tufts and things and blended those together, and then just hit everything with matte scenic sealant, and it just completely locks it up. It's I wouldn't roll dice on it, but it is rock hard. You can absolutely move miniatures around on it, and it's going to be a wicked gaming surface. So that is what I'm going to do with these guys, is give them that little basing mixture, hit it with some city rubble, and then probably put a few little tufts down around them like they're on the edges of Osgiliath, or in a region with a little bit of grass that's growing up through the rubble, and I think that will be a nice little bonus. So once those guys are finished, I will definitely throw some photos up on the page, and we'll jump over, and right now I'll have a look at all of the wonderful stuff that you guys have been doing. Well, that's a great shot of my crotch, probably. So yeah, this is in a slightly chaosy mental camera setup, but as you can tell, it is crazy in here getting ready for these battle reports. I love these sculpts. That was awesome fun, and it's really making me want to do an Osgiliath army, hey. I just wish Osgiliath veterans were good. because it would be so cool. I wish there was an Osgiliath Legion. I just don't know why there's a Rangers of Athelian Legion and there's not an Osgiliath Legion. Defenders of Osgiliath, Faramir, Boromir, some cool rules. Would have been awesome. But yeah, I'm never going to take veterans, but I'd love to. I'd love to be inspired to. But yes, alright, I'm going to sign off, guys. Thank you. That was a lovely little late night painting session. I'm ready for the battle report now once I've got some basing. I've got a weekend of filming ahead of me, and then hopefully I can get the first edit done probably by Wednesday, I reckon, or Thursday of next week, and then I'll start to roll them out over the couple of weeks after that. So, good times. Everyone is tuning in. J-Max says he just finished 26 converted Osgiliath vets. They're friggin' cool. I love them. I just wish they were good for competitive play. They're alright. There's way better options for them. Vallejo says, I'll see if I can sneak one question in. What is your favourite alternate colour scheme that you have seen / done? So alternate schemes. Oh man. I've seen so many great ones. There was some like really cool gold Gondor around for a while, which was really fun. And you can always do like crazy stuff with all the Eastern forces like Harad and Khand, and Easterlings too. Obviously, some cool schemes with them. Particularly people who do like interesting schemes for their black dragons, bringing in a lot of black. So that'd probably be my shout. Gold. We called them Goldor or Gondold or something. Good fun. Good fun. I think it was Gondold. How is the Ministerious build coming along? Can't wait for another tutorial video. Yeah, it's coming along really well. With the walls are like 2 meters wide now. I just need to get cracking on the gatehouse. I've just been delayed by so many other projects, but I'm desperate to get back to that, so that is happening very, very soon. 4 self-made promises, just found you the other day. Love the content so far, getting back into SBG. Thank you so much. Darren says it's a bit early for Christmas. Yes, I'm wearing pajamas. It's 2 AM. Yeah, it's just a thing. It's a regular thing on this channel. Richard Clemmer says, would love to see a battle report for the end of all things. Absolutely. When I build a black gate board, that will be happening. And I think that is everybody's questions. Paulie Dale says they're looking sweet. Can't wait for battle reports. Thank you for watching. Steven Sparks, great content. And then and Blair's got a good suggestion for us to do that veterans. They should allow once per game all rangers can shoot into combat with a guaranteed hit on the enemy model, just like when Faramir runs around the corner and they all unload. How cool would that be? I dig that in a Rangers Legion, in a Osgiliath Veteran Legion. That would be cool. Okay, thank you everyone. I'll see you, well, probably in like 4 or 5 days for the normal live stream, which will be Sunday night for England and European and American viewers, and Monday morning for Australian and New Zealand viewers. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Remember, if you want to score yourself a chance to win this bad boy, the Mines of Moria terrain, make sure you head over to Patreon and you can be in the draw. You go on the giveaway wheel, pledge as little as $1. You might be able to score yourself the Mines of Moria set or any of our amazing Patreon giveaways that happen every fortnight. You become part of the sponsored campaign and eventually you'll score yourself some very cool models after they've had an epic narrative journey. I think, what are we doing on Monday? I can't remember what's next. I haven't even planned for it yet. It's 5 days away. I planned for something 10 minutes before I click stream at the moment. It's very busy. I think it's some cool Saruman action, where he's doing some naughty spells. I don't know. It's we talked about it before. It's a really cool scenario. I think we did Fellowship trying to cross Gap of Rohan. Oh, actually, it might be Aemma. That's what it might be. It might be a really juicy Rohan Isengard scenario. We might be looking at the new Aemma model, which is just over there behind the camera. So some cool stuff. Anyway, it's going to be a great stream. If you want to score a chance to win that or win our extra special Quest for the Ringbearer giveaway, make sure you head over to Patreon. The link is in the description below. And thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time right here on Zorpazorp. And now I've got to go over there and click end. So you get to hear me for 2 seconds longer. Look, you can see my display cabinet with the mess of models and power cables hanging everywhere. It's just fantastic. And now I'm out of here. Thanks, dudes. Dudes and dudettes, I will see you later on.